Listen to this ridiculous propaganda.
Where's the nearest Palestinian town?
I'm so uncomfortable using the word Palestinian because I don't think that it exists.
You don't think they really exist?
I don't think that they exist as a real nation with a real claim to this land.
They don't exist with no claims to the land, huh? This is not even a fringe opinion. Daniela Weiss says it all the time, too. They're always throwing doubt and shade on other people's existence and claims to their land. But you know what? Let's look at their existence and their actual claims to the land. Let's expose some hypocrisy here. Let's start with the Star of David. And you can fact check this in all encyclopedias, too. The Star of David was actually first used by the Jews as a religious symbol only 400 years ago, starting in Prague, a city in the center of Europe. And only 200 years ago did Jews all around Europe start using it, and only after World War I did Jews around the world start using it as a commonly accepted symbol for their religion. The symbol itself is only two triangles. It's been around for a long time. Muslims have even used it in the past. But as a symbol that represents the whole entire religion, that's actually a relatively new symbol that started in Europe and was first accepted as a symbol for their flag at the first Zionist Congress in 1897. Now let's look at their language, modern day Hebrew. And we got to go to Eliezer ben Yehuda for this one. He revived the language, but also is very incomplete. About 30 to 40%, about a third of modern day Hebrew language was invented by this man right here. And he died in the 1920s. The Hebrew language stopped existing for a long time, and its recreation with all its added words only came back late 1800s, early 1900s. Look him up. Now, as far as their bloodline and ancestry and their claims to that land that they call Israel, let's talk about this man's ancestors right here. The Ashkenazi converted to Judaism, and that was only about 1,300 years ago. His ancestors are not the same people of Moses or in the Old Testament Bible. The Ashkenazi came from the Khazarian Empire, which sits right in between Europe and the Middle East. And here's a map of the Khazarian Empire. As you can see, it's far from modern day Israel. They have no ties to that land. This man's ancestors converted, for God's sakes. And they're committing acts of genocide for the creation of a state they have no ties to. And modern day Ashkenazi, even though their ancestors were between the Middle East and Europe and not belonging to either one, most of them migrated to Europe and stayed there for over 1,000 years. So that's why their appearances reflect more of the European side than Arab side. But they're so spread out, DNA testing on each individual will have to determine what they really are. But whenever you hear an Ashkenazi trying to question the ancestors or the history of another group of people, you can always remind them of their own.